I just finished the Fallout TV show recently, and honestly, I loved it. I think the TV show did the IP justice, and overall, I thought the story was pretty good. Now, I'm not some story savant, and I'm sure they could have done a few things better in some areas, but overall, this is a good adaptation in my opinion. It is obvious that the people who made the TV show cared, and I'm a little salty that the turd that became the Halo show didn't get the same treatment. This is going to be one of my more positive videos, so let's just talk about things that I thought the Fallout TV show did right. The first thing that the Fallout TV show did well is not retell a story from one of the games. Instead, it made its own story in the universe. The issue with retelling a story from the games is that most of the time, the games will do a better job. And even if you do a good job with retelling the story, some people will say the games are better anyways, and with how different video games and TV are as entertainment mediums, it's just better for those two to stay separate, especially with how Bethesda/Obsidian games are in general. Also, I'm really glad to see that Amazon and Bethesda worked together to make sure that the Fallout TV show felt like Fallout. Because let me tell you guys, as a massive fan of Halo, it can always be worse. The Halo TV show decided that it was going to do its own thing, and essentially made a story that had the skin of Halo, but none of the substance. Just look at the character assassination that they did to Master Chief. A lot of the fandom now calls his TV counterpart names like Master Cheeks and Jimmy Rings. I'm just glad to see that another IP I am fond of has escaped the fate of egotistical writers thinking they can do better than the source material. Imagine thinking that you will take a IP that a bunch of people love already and make it for the broader audience. But the real kicker is that it already appeals to the broader audience. So they end up just making a story that the fans hate and the general audience thinks is generic. And I know I said this already, but I am really glad to see that the Fallout TV show did not suffer the same fate as Halo, and I am really glad to see that it is way better than what I expected it to be. Now, the next thing the Fallout show did great was tell a good story. I'm not here to spoil anything, obviously, but I like the story of the show, and I think it helps flesh out the Fallout lore. Also, I am aware of some of the minor inconsistencies between the TV show and games, but honestly, I don't care. It's not the biggest problem in the world. And let me tell you, I'm a mega fan of the Elder Scrolls, and that Bethesda IP has had way worse inconsistencies than Fallout does. So I am kinda used to it. The show was so good, in my opinion, that I watched 5 episodes in one day, which is about 5 straight hours of watching the show. And honestly, it was worth it, because in my opinion, the story of the TV show was satisfying all the way through, and it makes me excited to see what the TV show has for us in the future. Now, bit of a side note, but I also really love the characters in the TV show. The Ghoul Cooper Howard, Brotherhood of Steel Squire Maximus, and Vaulty Lucy were all fantastic. I was especially surprised about Lucy because I'm just gonna call a spade, but recently it feels like every time I see a female on screen, they are either written to be a Mary Sue or they are just plain unlikable. Just go watch the sequel trilogy of Star Wars to get some examples of what I mean. But Lucy had some really good moments in the show. She also had some really low moments too, and it makes me honestly like her and interested to see where her story goes. Maximus was also great because he was a good window into how the Brotherhood of Steel is like in Southern California. And seeing him grow up and face adversity in the wasteland was a treat to watch. Lastly, the Ghoul Cooper Howard is a crazy character, and watching him on screen do some really crazy Fallout stuff was great. Also, his interactions with Lucy were my personal favorite moments. Now, the last great thing that the TV show will, and has already done, it will make Fallout a more popular brand name than it already is, if it continues to be this good. Just look at my Fallout 76 video. It got 2.8k views now, and is my most viewed video by a mile. And the reason my video did so good is because the Fallout TV show has drummed up more interest in the IP than ever before. And let me say this, if the show sucked and was poorly received, then that interest wouldn't be there. Just look at the Halo TV show, for example. The 2 seasons of that abomination didn't do anything to help drum up any interest for people to go play Halo Infinite and MCC. And the reason is simple. The TV show sucked, and it sucked because it wasn't Halo, where the Fallout TV show is great, and it was great because it is Fallout. Now let me know what you guys think of the Fallout TV show. Did you think it was good and a proper homage to what Fallout is, but as a TV show? Or did you think it sucked and wasn't what you wanted? Let me know in the comments, and thank you for watching the video, and...
I'm sorry, sir. It's time for you to leave.